want to define something for you tonight. Definition for pervert. It means to lead someone away from what is considered right, natural, or acceptable. This book has been permitted in 6 schools in the Wake County Public School System. This book explicitly details anal sex, blowjob tips, a response to a letter about gay sex, and BDSM. I'll read just a little bit of this perversion. So he bends me over the bed and drizzles some lube on my. I made him wear a condom, of course, and he starts pushing it in. Use your lungs to suck, not your lips to pull. You're not trying to yank the DICK off with your mouth. You're trying to make it feel good. Use your tongue. Doesn't it make you cringe? You don't like it. You don't want to hear it aloud. You don't want anyone to read it. The question today is, who is the pervert that's allowing this to be purchased and delivered to our libraries? Come out from wherever you are. Who are you? You don't have to answer that question. We know who the perverts are. There's one political party in this country that supports this junk. It's the Democrat Party. You all have signed off on this, and it needs to be removed from every school.
Your time is up, sir. Our next
County.
speaker.
Wait, so is that in children's school libraries?
That is an actual book in children's school libraries. My first time getting it in the butt was kind of weird. I think it's going to be weird for everyone's first time. Meet Jack Rotham. He's 17 and loves partying, makeup, and boys, sometimes all at the same time. His sex life makes him the hot topic for a high school gossip machine, but who cares? Like Jack always says, it's cool. It could be worse. He doesn't actually expect that to come true. But after Jack starts writing an online sex advice column, the mysterious love letters he's been getting take a turn for the creepy. Jack's secret admirer knows everything: where he's hanging out, who he's sleeping with, who his mum is dating. They claim they love Jack, but not his unashamedly queer lifestyle. They need him to curb his sexuality or they'll force him. As the pressure mounts, Jack must unmask his stalker before the obsession becomes genuinely dangerous. Now, obviously, it's a book about a gay teenager, but do you think this book should be in schools given what's inside it?
What ages are we talking here? Because the story is very explicit. That's adult content.
So it says teenagers, but that obviously can range. When you're 13, are you legally classed as a teenager? Is it implied in the name? 13.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that book is appropriate. Well, obviously it's not appropriate for 13-year-olds. It's insane. Like the thing is that the argument that I don't understand is that when you say take these books out of the school, they automatically assume that you don't want your kids to be exposed to gay people.
Yeah.
But it's not the fact, because gay people exist, we acknowledge them. Obviously, we live amongst them. They're our friends. They're human beings just like us. They're afforded the same rights. The problem is with the explicit language that the children are exposed to.
Yeah, because the same book could have been written about a straight teenager, but it's still not going to be acceptable because it's inappropriate.
Yeah, I would not be comfortable with my 13, 14, 15 or 16-year-old daughter reading a story about how she can use her lungs to suck off Jack. Like, I'm sorry, like this is not an anti-LGBT thing. It's just not. The language used in these books is not appropriate. Those are kids. I mean, it says 13. A 13-year-old is a child. They're still a child. Mm-hmm. 14, 15, 16, they're still too young. So if that's the age range we're talking about here, that language is way too explicit. You can teach people that these kinds of people exist. There's much, much better ways to do it than writing a book teaching the kid how to use their lungs to. It's just disgusting. It's disgusting. No wonder these parents are angry. I would be angry as well. Mm-hmm. It's actually filthy.
And the way the book looks, it looks like it's the sort of book somebody would pick up. It's eye-catching. Do you know what I'm saying? So it would get chosen a lot to be read.
I don't know what's going on in the schools either. Like, I read this thing as well, where it says government considers allowing same-sex schools to legally deny admission of transgender pupils. When I read that, I was perplexed that was even a question. Basically, what the UK government is doing, which I agree with, is they're basically stopping boys from going to all girls' schools.
Oh, was they trying to make that a thing?
Yeah, they were trying to allow transgender students to go to all girls. Now, this almost exclusively happens on the male to female side, right? It almost exclusively happens where a boy would transition and go to a girls' school, which is incredibly dangerous for the girl. There's one guy amongst all these girls. It's just not good. It's not safe for the girls. That particular boy that transitioned might be harmless, but you can't just send them to a girls' school because you put the girls at risk. You just do. There's somebody in there that's going to be way bigger and way stronger than the rest of them. The fact that the government even have to block something like that is crazy.
I'm surprised they have.
Well, the UK government's a bit different to the US government. Where I think, even though we don't like the Tories as much, I think they're less tolerant dealing with stuff like that. They're not as tolerant. But the fact that parents, and they're trying to stop parents from appearing in front of the boards now because they're saying that they're doing it too often. But maybe just stop putting books in schools that are so explicit like that. That book is way too explicit. It's fine if an LGBT author wants to write about very explicit things in their books. That's up to them. They can express themselves where they want. Whether it should be in a school library or not, that's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And I've seen people saying, oh, well, we teach kids about the atrocities of the World War. It's not the same thing. Learning about history and the things that human beings have done throughout human history in terms of conquest is not the same thing as explicitly writing about the intimate relationship between two teenagers, and going into detail about how you perform the act correctly or whatever, or how it's best pleasurable. And I said this to somebody, that if you're explaining about the human anatomy and how sex works, that's one thing. But for what reason are you explaining pleasure to a child? There is no reason. Like this, it's perverse and it's sick. And I've said it the same. If it was a book depicting straight people, it would be no different. Do you think any father is going to be comfortable with his daughter reading a book like that, knowing that she's around boys that are like their hormones are changing them? They're not going to be comfortable about it. And children are very impressionable. So I don't get why these people don't get it. I don't get why they see it as an attack. But it is perplexing to me that parents have to stand before a school board. A school board, you send your children to school to feel safe amongst these people, to educate them. It's bad enough that in America they've got school shooter after school shooter. Then you've got the teachers trying to feed them horse shit. Then they've got bullies in the school. It's like the kids that are trying to actually learn, they can't win. If it's not a bullet in the face, it's a dick up the arse, or it's some crazy shit going on. I don't know, man. Shit's wild.